I'm going to try and speak on some of the most heart-rending topics about Radharani. And one of her leelas, you'll see her Madhurya leela, which comes up. She is so magnanimous, which is what we're going to talk about. And the first example is that I get a chance to talk on Radha Ashtami, seriously, because my schedule was many days, somewhere in September, some date Ramakrishna Prabhu had given me, and then he pulled it forward, and I'm so lucky that I get to speak on Radha Ashtami. So thank you all. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. There's a small kirtan. Instead of singing the normal kirtan, we'll sing a special bhajan for Radha Ashtami, right? It's right here. The song is called Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Jayate. Do we have a kartal, if you don't mind? If you can see, can everyone see the lyrics? Thank you, my dear. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Daite. 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 Gokula Karune Mandala Mahite. Damodar Rati Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipineshe. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Daite. 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 Rishabhanu Dati Navshashi Lekhe Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishakhe. Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Varanita Charite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Daite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Radhe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Daite. I'd like to read the translation for that. It's on the screen. This is actually, the author is Rupa Goswami. The book is from Stavamala, and the translation goes like this. The refrain is, O Radha, O beloved of Madhava, O you who are worshipped by all the young girls of Gokula, all glories unto you, all glories unto you. You who dress yourself in such a way as to increase Lord Damodara's love and attachment for you. O Queen of Vrindavana, which is the pleasure grove of Lord Hari. O new moon that has arisen from the ocean of King Vishabhanu, O friend of Lalita, O you who make Vishaka loyal to you due to your wonderful qualities of friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna. O you who are filled with compassion, O you whose divine characteristics are described by the great sages Sanaka and Sanatana, O Radha, please be merciful to me. Now, as we know, as Ramakrishna Prabhu made the announcement, they all have those cards. And literally, when you say, "Oh Radha, please be merciful to me," in a way it sounds like, and without being offensive, in a way it sounds like, oh Lord, please give us our daily bread, which we don't need to ask, because the Lord has already made sure that we have our daily bread. Not only our daily bread, He's also, given a lot of us jam and jelly and cheese, which, we can of course share with other people. In the same way over here, when we say, oh Radha, please be merciful to me, in a couple of slides, I'll show you, she is so magnanimous that she even gives kindness, and she's even merciful to people who don't want it, who don't ask for it, who are like, who is Radha? People who can be insulting to her. She's even merciful to people like that. She's the most merciful mother for all of us, okay? Just in a few slides, we'll just look at that. I'm going to read this because Srila Prabhupada, for Radhashtami in Montreal in 1968, this is a speech, and I just picked up a few sentences from there. Srila Prabhupada says, this Radha Madhava Jayate, which we just sang, the song was sung by Rupa Goswami. He's a real person, actual person to understand Radha and Krishna. So he says, all glories to Radharani. Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite. She's so dear to Krishna. Everyone is trying to love Krishna, but Krishna is trying to love somebody, right? Krishna is trying to love, everyone is saying, oh Krishna, give me this, oh Krishna, I love you, oh Krishna, you're so attractive, and this and that. But guess who Krishna is chasing after? He is chasing after the one and only Radharani. That's how great she is. So Prabhupada says, just try to understand everyone, the whole world, the whole universe, all living entities, they are trying to love Krishna, Krishna Prema, which Lord Chaitanya describes as Prema Pumarto Mahan. And Rupa Goswami described that you are distributing Krishna Prema. So Krishna Prema is so valuable, but Krishna is after Radharani. Just see how Radharani is great. Just try to understand the greatness of Radharani. Therefore, she's so great, and we have to offer our respect. Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite. That's why we sang that Kirtan specifically for Radharani. Right? This was in 1968 that Srila Prabhupada gave this lecture. Now, why do we not talk too much about Radharani? We don't talk too much about Radharani because, in a way, ISKCON doesn't want us to talk too much about Radharani. So this particular day when we speak about Radharani and glorify her is a very special day. Right? And we'll discuss, we'll speak in a few minutes as to why ISKCON doesn't want us to talk about Radharani. We always have lectures on Krishna, this, Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many other things, but very, very rarely will you ever hear people talking about Radharani. So this particular day, for all of us who are so fortunate to be here, to be able to listen to a few words, to listen to Kirtan about Radharani, we have to consider ourselves extremely fortunate to be here, because normally you don't get to hear about this most secretive of the greatest personalities, right? Now, so what happens is, why is Radharani firstly so secretive? Because in Vedas and in mythology and history and all that stuff, you will hear about Goswamis discovering deities. Everyone has discovered the Krishna deity, right? Like for instance, the Radha Madan Mohan temple, Advaita Acharya discovered the deity of Madan Mohan. Was there a Radha there? No. So there's a Madan Mohan deity there. Then in the Radha Ramana temple, this temple was established by Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he also he had a deity self-manifested from one of Gopal Bhatta Goswami's Shaligram Shilas. Again, it was a Krishna deity, right? And then we have a Govindaji temple. Again, it was a Krishna deity that was found. So over the ages and eons, it's always been, oh, Krishna was found here. Oh, we have this statue of Krishna here, and we have that Krishna or statue of Krishna here. So who brought Radharani to us? How is Radharani all of a sudden come into being per se? When over the years it's only been Krishna this and Krishna that. Our one and only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's why we are called Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are called. Because we are the followers of Radha Krishna. Every ISKCON temple always has Radha and Krishna. In fact, if you have a deity of Krishna alone, they don't encourage that. They ask, Krishna is never alone. He's always, either he's got, his cows, his gopis and gopas, but always they ask you to have Radha and Krishna together. Because as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought Radharani into visibility. Right? She always existed. She's always been there. But he made her visible to us. And now as the Hare Krishna devotees are going all around and temples are sprouting up all over the place, now Radha Krishna, every temple has a Radha Krishna deity now. Okay? So that is why she was so kind of secretive. A lot of people didn't know about her. And what happened when people didn't know about her? When people didn't know about her, not only was there ignorance, but more than ignorance, there was confusion. People are like, why do you have Radha and Krishna? Krishna is not married to Radha. Krishna is firstly Vishnu's avatar. He got married to Rukmani and he has Satyabhama and Jambavati. Why do you folks marry Radha and Krishna? Right? Why do you folks have Radha and Krishna? So if someone has the time to come for a Radha Ashtami lecture like this, that's when we clarify to them. Also, our acharyas have written many, many, many books to clarify Radha's position. Because when people are confused and when people make ignorant remarks, what they do is they hurt themselves, right? They actually hurt themselves. They hurt their little spirituality that they have. So to avoid that, our acharyas have taken a great amount of trouble to describe who she is. She's part and parcel of Krishna. She's Krishna herself. She's this internal potency, and that's what we'll talk about. And so when people talk about Radha and they say, oh, we know Ras Leela and Krishna was dancing with all these people, either you have a sit down with them and you discuss it with them, or you just leave it be. There's no point in getting into an argument, because what happens is that instigates them to badmouth Radha more, and that we don't want, right? Because it harms their spirituality, it harms our spirituality. So we have to be very careful with that. So, can we ever understand Radharani? Who's Radharani? Can we ever understand? So there's a little story here. Everyone knows Lord Brahma, who's the master of the universe, who helped create this universe. So once he decided to do austerity for 100 years, right? So immense, and Brahma can do austerities basically, right? We can be really austere with his austerities. So he did that for 100 years, and after 100 years he decided to open his eyes and he said, yes, I have found my answer. Now I know who Narayan is. I have a clear understanding of who Narayan is. So he breaks his austerity, right? So he breaks his austerity, and then Narayan comes in front of him and he says, oh, I see you have broken your austerity. So he says, yes. So Narayan says, why? So Brahma says, because I think I know who you are. I understand what I was seeking. So then Narayan says, really? So you know who I am now? Who am I? What did you understand about me? So Brahma says that in the 100 years of austerity that I went through, I understood that I'm never going to understand you. So that is basically the truth about Krishna. What more about Radharani? So if we are trying to, be theoretical and read through books and say, oh, she was born 2 weeks after Krishna. Oh, was she born before? Because in some stories where Radharani is getting married, Krishna was a child, right? There are some stories like that, which I don't have the time to go into. And then there are some stories where she's not opening her eyes till Krishna crawls into her cradle, and then she opens her eyes because she only wants to see Krishna. So the idea is to listen to lectures that the great acharyas have given us. There's Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, who writes such beautiful stories about Radharani, and there's a book which unfortunately we don't have, but there's this beautiful, beautiful book. So please, anytime you want to discuss Radharani or you want to hear more about her, only listen from not only authorized, but from very advanced devotees, right? Now, I'm sitting over here because I am basically a copy-paste master. I have copied and pasted exactly what other people said. So nothing that I'm saying is my own content. I dare not because I don't know anything about Radharani, right? So this is how it goes with Radharani. We cannot understand her. We should not attempt to understand her. But what we can do is come on a beautiful day like this and say, oh, Radhe. Radha Shyam Sundar is here every Sunday, right? All we need to do is actually go up to and say, we can never understand you, but I'm so glad you've given us the opportunity to come and just bow down before you. Thank you for that. Isn't it wonderful to pay obeisance to this fantastic person who you can never understand? Because eventually in this material world that we live in, when you begin to get close to a person or you begin to know a person, your boss, for instance, you eventually find that they all have feet of clay. Like, you idolize someone. For the longest time, I thought Tiger Woods was like the greatest person, and eventually, he shatters your illusion. So, but Radharani is not like that, because you'll never know enough about her. The more you learn about her, there's more to know about her. That's her beauty, right? Okay, there is one spot in the Bhagavatam where Sukadev Goswami accidentally talks about Radharani, right? So what happens is, firstly, Sukadev Goswami, Okay, before I go into any of that, if you want to know more about Sukadeva Goswami, and if you want to know about exactly what he said in 7 days, he said that in 18,000 verses, and those beautiful 18,000 verses are available with us on the book table, and Gopal Govind Prabhu has a fabulous sale going on for Bhadra Purnima that's coming up. It's the Srimad Bhagavatam, folks. Srimad Bhagavatam, the most beautiful book set you can buy. It's not even a book set, it's literally bringing Krishna home to your house. Okay, the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sukadeva Goswami was too afraid to bring up Radha's name, but accidentally he brings up his name in one verse. Okay, so there were 2 reasons why he didn't want to bring up her name. One is that when he came to 10th canto, which talks about the pastimes of Krishna, in his heart, all these gopis clustered in his heart, and the gopis are telling him, no, don't talk about us, because we have such intimate pastimes with Krishna, and we don't want that to be exposed. So Sukadeva Goswami is answering them in his heart, and he says, but I'm here to talk about the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. My discourse will be incomplete if I don't, write all this down, if I don't speak to him about that. So then they consider that, and they say, okay, in that case, don't use our names. Don't use our names, the gopis ask him. So that was one of the reasons that Sukadeva Goswami didn't write Radharani's name and also some gopis' name in the Bhagavatam. And the other reason was that he knew he had only 7 days to finish the Bhagavatam. And he was almost at the 10th canto. And he realized that if he started talking about Radharani, he would go into such ecstasy that he would never be able to complete the Bhagavatam, right? But despite that, while he was in 10th canto, the name accidentally slipped out. And this is what the name is. It says Aradhita. And we have a beautiful, beautiful devotee by the name of Aradhita. There she is. Hari Bol, Aradhita. Okay? Aradhita means perfectly worshipped. So I'm going to read this. 10:30:28. Anayaradita nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara Yanno Vihaya Govinda Prito Yamanayadraha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Certainly this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead, Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. So I'm not going to read the entire purport, but what happens is when they had the Ras Leela, they were all doing the Ras Leela, all of a sudden Krishna has disappeared with one gopi. So all the gopis are running to see, where is Krishna, and then they realize that beside his footsteps there is another smaller pair of footsteps, and then they realize that Krishna has left the Ras Leela with his most favorite gopi, and that is Radharani. Now, who knows Radharani? Only Radharani's Sakhis knew who she was, but they were very happy, right? So that was the scenario. And this is 10.30.28, the only verse where Radharani's name is accidentally mentioned in the entire Bhagavatam, which has 18,000 verses. Beautiful, beautiful verse. Okay, so I won't go into this. And this is what her feet look like. Look. Oh, the slide which had the names has disappeared. Well, anyway, this has got 19 marks. So when her Sakhis saw these marks over there, they knew this was Radharani. Another point is that normally, for Sita Mahotsav and for Radharani Mahotsav, usually in some ISKCON temples, that's the only time when they lift the skirt of Radharani so you can see the feet. And I think ISKCON, the deity ministry has now not agreed to do that. So they may not, some temples still do that, some temples may not do that because that's a new law that they do not want to expose Radharani or Sita Maharani's feet anymore. So this picture basically is a beautiful, beautiful picture. Let's satisfy ourselves by looking at these beautiful feet of Radharani Mataji's with the marks on that, right? So if you don't see the feet of Radharani Mataji when you see the deities, that's the way they would like it, because that's not the way the ISKCON deity ministership wants it. That's the way Radharani wants it, right? That's how it's coming down. So who is Radharani? She's basically Krishna's pleasure potency. This picture basically says they're one and the same. Radha and Krishna are one and the same. And as many lectures as you hear, You'll hear Radhanath Maharaj speaking about this. You'll hear Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj speaking about this. And of course, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. If at all you ever want to listen to anything about Radharani, please listen to Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. He has lectures in English, Hindi and Bengali. Beautiful, beautiful lectures. You'll just go into raptures. I was listening to those lectures and I totally actually forgot to even make the slide. I made these notes. So, Prabhupada sometimes described Radharani as Krishna's tender-hearted female counterpart. So if Krishna is the energetic, Radharani is the energy, right? She is the energy. And what's the best way to know her? We do it every day. And if you don't do it, start doing it by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. She's right there, Hare. That's the first way. Hare Krishna, oh energy of the Lord. We are calling out to her because without her mercy, we can get nowhere near Krishna. Okay? Now, I am going to wrap up with Leelas of Radharani. There are lots of... Radharani has as many Leelas, as many pastimes as Krishna does. They, of course, they have... and these pastimes are described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Chamatkar Chandrika. Right? Now, the Madhurya Leelas, this is the Madhurya Leela. This is the confidential part of the Madhurya Leelas, which are actually described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We will not discuss that over here because I'm not qualified to discuss any of those over here. But as many Leelas as Krishna had, obviously Radharani also had those. Then, of course, she's got the same Aishwarya Leelas as Krishna has. But one of our Aishwarya Leelas is what? Being Lakshmi Devi, right? So what we do for Diwali time, we only pray to Lakshmi Devi. We say, oh Lakshmi, please come to my house. Oh Lakshmi, give me money. Oh Lakshmi, let me start my business. But we don't realize, what's Lakshmi doing? Lakshmi is sitting by the feet of Narayan. So what devotees in ISKCON do is they don't ask Lakshmi to come by themselves. They take care of Krishna in such a way that Lakshmi has no choice but to follow. Because she'll go where Krishna is happy, right? She'll go where Narayan is happy. So, but this is Lakshmi Devi's Aishwarya Leela, where she is the goddess of fortune, right? That's also Radharani. But today we are going to talk about the Audharya Leela, which is the magnanimous. We have Audharya Gauranga Prabhu sitting right here. Audharya Leela, magnanimity. Like I said at the beginning of the lecture, even if people don't ask for it, she's so kind and she's so merciful, right? So I have two stories, but I'm only going to stick with one because we have a lovely jhulan to go for. So in this particular story, what happens is, when Ram and Sita were in the forest, all of a sudden they came across a huge pile of bones and skeletons and all that stuff. So Ram was asking, whose bones are these? So someone told him that, there are these are bones of the rishis and all the sadhus who actually pray in the forest. But the demons in the forest don't allow them to pray, and they eat them up and they throw their bones and their skeletons over here like that. So Lord Ram was very unhappy with that. Now Lord Ram is a warrior, right? So he takes out his bow and arrow, and he takes out all his weapons, and he goes about to destroy these demons, right? So at that time, Sita Mata says, oh Lord Ram, why are you doing this? Now remember, Sita Mata is as merciful, right? She's so she says, oh Ram, why are you doing this? At that time, Ram tells her that in this avatar of mine, that is what my goal is. I have come here as a warrior, and my goal is to use my weapons to get rid of the demons. In our next avatars together, in our next appearances together, I will come in a form where I will not kill demons, he says, okay? Now you know who this is speaking. So of course, in the next Leela, we have Krishna, right? We have Krishna and we have Radharani. So in that Leela, now what he does is, he's still killing demons, right? Right from the beginning, when he's got Putana and he's got this one and he's got, where is that picture? Here he's happily killing all these demons, right? So what happens is, then the pictures, they decide to disappear, I'm sorry, but they were really nice pictures of Krishna killing the demons. But the point in those pictures, which unfortunately don't want to stay here, they want to keep disappearing. Quick, see, there it goes. Quick it goes. Well, the point is that he's killing the demons, but guess what? So then Radharani asked him, listen, you promised me last time you were not going to kill demons. What happened? You didn't live up to your promise. He said, listen, I said in that avatar of mine, I was going to use my weapons. In this avatar, do you see me using any weapon? No. With his bare hands, he's killing all these demons, right? So Radharani you are like such a master with words, such a sweet speaker. So then she says that since you are going to play with me with the mastery of your words in your next avatar, I'm going to make sure that I don't come with you, but I'm going to make sure that I come inside of you. And that's what happens here. And that is where we have the most magnanimous avatar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all that she wants to do is make sure, she is so merciful and so magnanimous, she wants to make sure that he doesn't even kill the demons. Think about that. Demons who are killing sadhus, she wants to protect them. Demons who wanted to harm Krishna in his appearance as Krishna. So finally she made sure that she came inside of Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we all know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna, who wants to know the mood of Radharani. And that is the magnanimity of Srimati Radharani. We have qualities, we have 25 beautiful qualities, okay? But and they're really, she is sweetness personified. She's a fresh young girl. Her eyes are always moving. She's always brightly smiling. You know, after we have prasadam and all that, usually we are standing here looking at the deities. It's absolute, it's so hard to move away from those deities. There's something about Radharani. Look at that one looking. There is something so beautiful about Radharani. She speaks to you. She's got these smiling eyes, and she's so wonderful. Okay, she possesses all auspicious marks on her body. She can agitate Krishna by her person. She's expert in the art of singing. She speaks very nicely and sweetly. She's expert in presenting feminine attractions, modest, gentle, merciful, transcendental, cunning. But there's one thing over here, right? She is the greatest amongst Krishna's girlfriends, but number 25. She always keeps Krishna under control. You see that? She always keeps Krishna under control. Isn't that amazing? Do we not all like to hear it, Mataji's? Haribol to us. Yeah. She always keeps Krishna under control. So, I mean, these are her. She has only 25 characteristics. Actually, these are the ones that are highlighted, but we all know that she's got, innumerable characteristics. And with that, I am going to stop, and I am going to open up for any questions that you may have. Please, if you have any questions, I know I'm totally not qualified, but I'll get you the answer. I'll dig it up from somewhere. Questions? You don't have a question? I'm surprised.
I'll start with a question, Mataji.
Yes.
So Krishna says in Gita that in every yuga he comes, Sambhavami Yuga, he comes for three reasons, right? Paritrana, Sadhana, Vinasha, Dushkritam. So as part of his lila, he should kill demons, right? What's so special? How is Srimati Radharani making sure that that's not happening when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes? Maybe you can expand on that.
So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, thank you, Prabhu, that is a very thought-provoking question. So he does say that, right? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dishkritam dharma samsthapanatharya sambhavami yuge yuge. So what does Krishna come for every time? He comes to kill whenever there's disruption, right? Whenever there's disruption on this material planet, he comes to disrupt that. But can he not do that from where he is? He can absolutely do that, right? One bolt of thunder, one something, and he can destroy all the demons. But he comes here basically because his devotees are seeking to see him. They want to share, they want to be with him, they want to see these pastimes of Krishna. So he comes because his devotees are calling out to him. Right? That is one of the reasons that he comes over there. Now, when he comes, does Krishna go alone? No. He always has his little entourage, and he always wants Radharani to come with him. So when she came as Sita Mata and then she came as Radharani, they were, the most magnanimous, most merciful. When he came as Chaitanya, right, she said at that time that I'm going to come inside of you. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? Did he also have to come to kill demons? Well, in a way, yes, because the demon at that point was ignorance, right? There was a lot of meat eating going on at that time. There was Adi Shankaracharya had come and he had spread impersonalism. So there were a lot of things going on over there. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came as the devotee of the Lord. Being the Lord himself, he came as a devotee of the Lord. So his weapon was what? He did come with a weapon. He did come to destroy ignorance. He did come to destroy meat eating to a certain extent too, right? Those kind of demons. But his weapon was one and only one weapon. And what is that? There you go. right? Which is what we do all the time. We just chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And what were his weapons? Oh, by the way, what were his weapons? Krishna was using his hands. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu use? Can you not see it all over here? The mridanga and the kartals. These were the weapons that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with, right? And this is why, as Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we sing and we dance and we drag everybody who came, and people who are limping and everybody joins in singing and dancing, and people who don't know how to play kartals just bang it together and stuff like that. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's weapons. Does that answer your question?
Wonderful answer.
Yes, my dear. Ask. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you at all. If someone can just... Why did?
Krishna make Radha Kund.
Why did Krishna make Radha Kund? That's a long answer. Can I tell you during Prasadam? Right? Okay, I'll tell you during Prasadam. Okay? Because it's a big story. He made Sham Kund first, and then he had to make Radha Kund, and there's a beautiful picture when they were digging that with their bangles. Okay, so we'll do that later. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Thank you, management. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.